this is the final section of the syllable handout, section 4, looking at Latin stress. And this is going to introduce a stress pattern. We're talking about stress in the next unit. That's going to be highly relevant to other cases we'll look at in class and to your homework. Hint, hint, very relevant. Okay, so what are we looking at here? Well, this is going to be about the stress patterns of, I guess this is probably early classical Latin, although I'm not 100% sure about that. And we're going to be, again, using syllable theory to tie together multiple facts from Latin phonological grammar. And this is a classic case where we get hypotheses about syllable structure that will, just like all the other cases we've been looking at, help tie together the relationship between word initial possibilities and word final possibilities and word medial possibilities. This is again going to be just the kind of evidence we were looking at in Spanish or in English or in any of the other languages we did, where we saw that the idea is that well-formed words have to be well-formed sequences of syllables, right? That's going to work the same, but then in addition to that, the things we find out about syllabification in the Latin case are also going to help us explain why stress appears where it does in Latin and not in some other position. So we're really getting a ton of mileage out of the syllable theory in this case. And this is a classic case where syllable theory works really well for getting important facts about the grammar. Not all cases work so well, though. But I wanted to show you a really successful case before you look at some less successful cases. Your homework may or may not be a related pattern that doesn't work as well. That's as much of a hint as I'll give you. Okay, so let's see how this works when it works. It works really nicely. It's a cool pattern, and the analysis is really great. Okay, what do we have here? What can we say about Latin stress? Well, I've given you 5 different stress classes on page 7 here. And the 2-syllable words are not really interesting. They're just always stressed on the first syllable. Same thing for 1-syllable words, which I haven't even shown you here. Obviously, those are stressed on their only syllable. Those are not going to be super important, but the other words here all have at least 3 syllables, and there are interesting generalizations, right? So don't look at those labels up top yet. I'll talk about those in a minute. Let's just look at the words where stress here is going to be indicated with the acute accent mark. That we sometimes do that even though the real IPA notation should be this like apostrophe thing. We often just use the accent mark, especially in languages that don't have contrastive tone. There's really, there's no reason to have to use those special diacritics if you can get away with an accent mark, so we do that a lot. Here's the generalization. Penult stands for the second to last syllable, and this is important in stress theory. Penultimate stress is stress on the second to last. Anti-penultimate stress, or the anti-penult, refers to the third from last syllable, or stress on the third to last syllable. So what do we see here? We have a bunch of words with stress on the penult, on the second to last syllable. And this includes word types where that second to last syllable has a long vowel, as in mavi. And then also cases where there's certain kinds of consonant clusters in between the last 2 vowels. Example here, amantis. So this gets penultimate stress. If you don't have a consonant cluster here, you get anti-penultimate stress, third from last. So for instance, where are these? Oh, okay. Miserum. And I'm basically transcribing these, and I don't even know what this is, Spanish or Italian or something. I don't know what the actual pronunciation of early classical Latin was, and I don't think anybody else really does either. But this is roughly what we would see here. I wonder if this is voiced. I'm not totally sure about that, but I'll just put it in as a Z here. Anyway, the important thing, no consonant cluster in between the last and second to last vowel, and stress is third from last, antepenultimate stress. Some consonant clusters also occur with antepenultimate stress, not these ones, but things like calibris. Antepenultimate stress. So, what's the relevant difference here? Why does this pattern with this, but this patterns with this? Here is a solution. Again, let's ask about the syllable structure of these Latin words. In this case, it should be clear, right, that the nucleus here is going to be complex because it has two lengths of vowel in it. It has a long vowel. So one way we might write this in the syllable constituent theory is as having a branching nucleus, or Hayes refers to it as a, sorry, this is not Hayes, this is my handout, not Hayes's, refers to it as a branching rhyme structure where, remember, the rhyme includes the nucleus and any coda. There's no coda in this particular syllable, so we would just say that it has a branching nucleus, which in turn makes this a branching rhyme, and we refer to anything in Latin with a branching rhyme as heavy. Okay, what about this case, amantis? How are these going to get syllabified? Well, are there words in Latin that begin with "ta"? Yes. Are there words in Latin that begin with "nta"? No, there are not. Therefore, this is going to have to go in the coda of the preceding syllable. So, man, syllable break, tis. Just like a long vowel, that type of structure is a heavy structure because it has a branching rhyme. Here, rather than having a complex nucleus or a branching nucleus, it has a nucleus and a coda, but it's still a heavy or branching rhyme structure. Now, obviously, this single consonant is going to go into the onset if we can, and we can. Right? So that means that the second to last syllable has no coda here and no long vowel. So we'll call that light. No branching structure, light syllable. Ze is light here. What about bris? Why is this different than ntis? Well, because ra is a possible word beginning in Latin, and bra is also a possible word beginning. So for stop liquid clusters, these are possible onsets. They get parsed into the final syllable. So the second to last syllable has no coda. It's light, lay. No branching rhyme structure, just an A nucleus, and that's it. Whereas in these ones, where you can't parse these consonant clusters into the following onset of the final syllable, you end up with the second to last syllable heavy because it has a coda consonant. So, heavy second to last syllable, heavy second to last syllable, light second to last syllable, light second to last syllable. The generalization here, in Latin, if the second to last syllable is heavy, then stress it. Otherwise, stress the third to last syllable, unless there aren't three syllables, in which case just stress the first. Right? That's the full generalization here from Latin. And you can, again, make an algorithm for this. So first, if the penult, the second to last syllable, has branching structure in its rhyme, then add stress to it. Otherwise, if the word has three or more syllables, then add stress to the antepenultimate, and otherwise stress the first syllable. So again, in Latin here, we're seeing a really nice case where all of these facts come together to support the syllable theory. Now, it's not always going to work out so neatly in other languages, relevant to your homework.